What if the loudest battle you'll ever face isn't out in the world but inside your own head? Every morning before you speak a word or take a step, it begins. That quiet voice you hear, it's not always on your side. Sometimes it tells you you're tired, that you're not ready, that it's okay to put things off. Sometimes it floods you with doubt, hesitation, or fear. It says you'll fail, that you don't belong, that you're not enough. And the worst part, you start to believe it, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. That's how the mind works when left unchecked. It doesn't always serve your growth, it serves your survival. It keeps you in what's safe, what's known, what's easy. And the more you listen, the more control it takes. This enemy isn't loud. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It convinces. It disguises itself as logic, as caution, even as self-care. But what it really wants is comfort. No risk, no challenge, no growth. And if you're not careful, it wins. Not in one giant moment, but slowly. Through every opportunity you pass up. Through every excuse you buy into. Through every dream you bury under fear. And the damage is invisible. No one sees the dreams you didn't chase. No one hears the courage you never spoke. No one feels the pain of the life you could have lived. But you do. Deep down you feel it every time you settle. Every time you silence yourself. Every time you wonder if there could be more. But here's the truth. That voice in your head, it's not you. It's not your potential. It's not your future. It's just noise. And you can rise above it. You can learn to separate your thoughts from your truth. You can train your mind instead of being trapped by it. You don't have to believe everything you think. You don't have to obey every fear. You don't have to let the past predict your future. Your mind is powerful, but it's not perfect. It can be shaped, molded, strengthened. You can teach it to push through doubt, to choose action over fear, to stay focused when everything in you wants to quit. This is the battle that changes everything. Because when you learn to command your mind, you take back your life. You stop playing small. You stop living on autopilot. You start choosing with intention, with clarity, with courage. And life begins to expand. Opportunities open. Confidence grows. Peace returns. You become someone who doesn't just survive the day. You create it. You lead it. You own it. That's what's waiting on the other side of the battle. That's the reward. A mind that works for you, not against you. A life built on purpose, not fear. So don't look away. Don't scroll past. Stay, because this fight is worth it. And if you win here within, you'll win everywhere else. The truth is your mind doesn't want you to grow. It wants you to stay where it feels safe, even if that safety is a cage. Every time you think about stepping outside your comfort zone, your mind reacts like it's a threat. It feeds you thoughts that sound like protection, but they're really just limits. It says, what if you fail? What will people think? What if you're not good enough? And if you listen, you retreat, you shrink. You convince yourself that maybe later is better, maybe someone else is more qualified, maybe your dream is too big. But that voice isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying to protect you from pain. The problem is, it doesn't understand that avoiding growth is its own kind of pain. You weren't designed to live afraid of your own potential. You weren't made to tiptoe through life, hoping nothing challenges you too much. That's not living. That's surviving. And deep down you know the difference. You can feel it. That tension inside you, that pressure building, it's not anxiety. It's unused power. It's everything you could become, trapped behind mental walls you didn't even choose. And here's what most people never realize. The longer you obey those limits, the more real they feel. Not because they are real, but because repetition makes them familiar. And what's familiar becomes automatic. You don't question it. You just live under it. But you are not meant to live under fear. You are meant to rise above it, to walk into it, to prove it wrong. And that starts by seeing the pattern for what it is. Your brain is not the enemy. It's just untrained. It needs direction, discipline, leadership. Without it, it runs wild. It clings to the past. It avoids challenge. It magnifies the worst-case scenario and minimizes your strength. But when you interrupt those thoughts, when you step back and say, this fear is not fact, you regain power. You cut through the illusion. And in that moment, a new path opens. This isn't about pretending you're not afraid. It's about moving anyway. It's about understanding that fear will always show up when something matters, but it doesn't get to drive. Your courage does. Every time you act in spite of fear, you retrain your mind. You send it new signals. You tell it, I am not fragile. I am not helpless. I can do hard things. And over time, the fear loses its grip. The doubts get quieter. The hesitation fades. Because now, you're no longer being led by survival. You're being led by strength. This is the shift that changes lives. When you stop asking your mind for permission and start giving it direction. When you become the master of your thoughts instead of their servant. This is where transformation begins. Not in the absence of fear, but in your refusal to let it decide your future. Keep moving. Keep rising. You're closer than you think. You don't need more time. You need more control over your mind. Because time without clarity is wasted. Time without courage is lost. And the hours you spend second-guessing, overthinking, and doubting yourself are not neutral. They're heavy. They weigh down your spirit. They drain your energy. They convince you that stillness is peace, when really, it's delay. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they surrender to hesitation. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until the fear goes away. They wait until they feel ready. But readiness is not a feeling. It's a decision. And it begins with choosing to stop letting your mind set the limits on your life. The human mind is powerful, but it's not always aligned with your highest self. It resists growth because growth feels uncertain. It avoids discomfort because discomfort feels dangerous. But that resistance isn't truth, it's programming. And that programming can be rewritten. The thoughts that once held you back can become the very thoughts that propel you forward. But only if you recognize them for what they are. Habits, not destiny. Patterns, not prophecy. Just because your mind offers you a thought doesn't mean it deserves your belief. Not everything you think is true. Not everything you feel is fact. That single awareness can change your entire life. You must stop treating fear as a stop sign. It was never meant to be a wall. It's a signal, a signpost that you're approaching something meaningful, something that matters. And most people run the other way, but not you. Not anymore. You're here because something in you is tired of shrinking. Something in you is tired of the lies, the delay, the limits. You're ready to stop surviving your thoughts and start leading them. And that requires a new habit. Not of force, but of awareness. Catch the thought. Question it. Redirect it. Every time you do, you reclaim a little more freedom. You are not broken. You're just buried under layers of noise you never chose. Layers built by old fear, past wounds, and outdated beliefs. But the real you, the powerful you, is still there, still waiting, still ready. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to the part of you that was never afraid to try. The part that saw life as a possibility, not a problem. That part isn't gone. It's just been quiet. But the more you quiet the noise, the louder your truth becomes. There's a version of you that lives on the other side of hesitation. Confident, clear, focused, free. And every time you choose action over avoidance, discipline over doubt, presence over panic, you move closer. Your mind no longer needs to be the enemy. With training, with attention, it becomes your greatest ally. The power has always been in you, and now is the time to take it back. You don't overcome the mind by silencing it. You overcome it by standing taller than its noise. Your thoughts will still come. Fear will still whisper. Doubt will still tap on your shoulder. But you will be stronger. Not because the noise stopped, but because you stopped obeying it. You stopped treating every anxious thought like a command. You stopped letting every moment of discomfort decide your direction. The most powerful transformation doesn't come from eliminating fear. It comes from learning to move through it, fully aware, fully awake, fully in charge. When your thoughts try to pull you back, you choose to step forward anyway. When your mind says you can't, you say, watch me. That's the shift. That's where control begins. Too many people wait to feel inspired before they act. But the truth is, action leads. Emotion follows. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you build, step by step, thought by thought. And it starts by refusing to be passive. Your life is not a reaction. It's a creation. And if you don't choose the direction of your mind, it will choose for you. Left alone, it will always choose comfort. But comfort doesn't change you. It doesn't challenge you. It doesn't introduce you to your potential. And that's what you're here for. Not ease, not avoidance. Growth, strength, ownership. That's what makes life worth living. That's what makes the struggle meaningful. Every moment you catch yourself slipping into old patterns is a chance to reclaim control. You are not the same person you were yesterday. And you're not obligated to carry thoughts that no longer serve the future you want to build. You can interrupt them, replace them, speak something new into your life. Not from fantasy, but from truth. You have power, you have choice, and choice is the seed of every breakthrough. Each time you choose discipline over distraction, you rewrite the wiring. Each time you show up when your mind says not to, you build the identity of someone unstoppable. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Consistency rewires chaos. Intention replaces instinct. You don't need to feel perfect. You just need to keep moving forward thought by thought, step by step. You're not weak for struggling. You're human. Everyone battles the mind. Everyone hears the voice of fear. But not everyone answers it with courage. Not everyone challenges it with action. And that's what sets you apart. That's what builds something unshakable. When you learn to feel fear without feeding it, hear doubt without trusting it, and face resistance without running, you rise. Slowly, steadily you rise. Your thoughts begin to follow your lead. And for the first time, your mind becomes quiet, not because it gave up, but because it finally trusts the strength of your direction. Keep going. The war within you is not your downfall, it's your proving ground. This battle is not about silencing your thoughts forever, it's about teaching them who's in charge. It's about realizing that your mind is a tool, not a master. It was never meant to control you, only to serve you. But most people live the opposite way. They take every fear as truth, every doubt as direction, every mental barrier as a permanent wall. And slowly, without noticing, they lose themselves. Not all at once, but one ignored dream at a time, one excuse at a time, one day of hesitation that becomes a year. Until one day they forget what it felt like to be alive, to be driven, to believe in something bigger than fear. That's what's at stake if you don't take control, your fire, your future, your freedom. You have to be willing to disrupt your own patterns, not with force, but with clarity, not with rage, but with truth. You have to ask yourself, who am I when I stop obeying fear? Who am I when I stop listening to the thoughts that keep me small? That version of you, the one who acts, who leads, who creates, is already within you. It's not waiting to be built, it's waiting to be chosen. Every time you lean into discomfort instead of away from it, you're choosing power. Every time you push through resistance, you're proving to yourself that you are more than your impulses. You are not your excuses. You are not your fears. You are not your temporary feelings. You are the one who decides. And decision is where freedom lives. Not the kind that feels easy, the kind that feels like truth, the kind that breaks through the noise. That's the edge most people never cross. Because it requires discomfort. It requires discipline. But discipline is not punishment. It's alignment. It's your inner warrior saying, I will not live on my knees to my thoughts. It's you stepping into the role of creator, not just survivor. And when you do that, when you decide to lead your mind instead of follow it, everything changes. Not just your habits, but your identity. Not just your results, but your self-respect. The shift is subtle at first. You wake up and show up when you don't feel like it. You do the work even when motivation is gone. You speak power over yourself even when the old voice tries to return. And eventually your mind adapts. It starts to mirror your actions. It becomes a supporter, not a saboteur. Because the mind learns from evidence. And the more you show its strength, the more it believes in your strength. You begin to live on a new level. One where emotion doesn't dictate direction. One where your inner world is no longer a battlefield, but a foundation. This is your moment. The moment where you draw the line, where you stop running and start rising. Not by force, but by choice. The mind no longer leads here. You do. When you choose to lead your mind, you unlock a strength most people never access. Not because they don't have it, but because they never demand it. They negotiate with weakness. They justify avoidance. They build lives around fear and call it normal. But you weren't built for normal. You weren't meant to shrink your spirit to fit the shape of your comfort zone. You were made to break limits, to tear down the mental walls built by doubt and hesitation. And every time you take command of your thoughts, you strike a blow against the illusion that you're not enough. That illusion has robbed too many people of the life they were meant to live. It's not the world that holds them back. It's the lies they believe about themselves. But belief is not fixed. It's a choice. And when you choose to believe in your ability to grow, to rise, to overcome, your life begins to bend toward that belief. The mind adapts to what you feed it. Feed it fear, and it grows anxious. Feed it courage, and it builds resilience. Feed it discipline, and it starts to trust you. That trust is everything. Because a mind that trusts your leadership becomes an ally, not a burden. It starts to support your goals instead of sabotage them. It starts to work for your future instead of clinging to your past. But you have to earn that trust, not through perfection, but through repetition, through consistency, through every small moment when you choose action over excuses. Those moments add up, they form a pattern, and that pattern becomes who you are. You become the person who shows up, the person who doesn't wait for the perfect mood, the perfect timing, the perfect plan. You move anyway, you rise anyway. You get it done because you've trained your mind to follow your direction, not your emotion. That's what sets the extraordinary apart. Not talent, not luck, but the ability to act when it's hard, to push when it hurts, to keep going when the voice of doubt is loud, because eventually that voice gets tired. Eventually, it realizes you won't bend. And when that happens, you enter a new phase of power. The struggle doesn't disappear, but you become stronger than the struggle. And that's when life starts to open. Doors you once thought were closed begin to unlock. Paths you couldn't see before begin to appear. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Because your mind is no longer clouded by fear, no longer hijacked by hesitation. It's focused, clear, committed. And when your mind aligns with your purpose, there is no force more unstoppable. This is the version of you the world needs. This is the version of you need. Show up for it, lead it, own it. You are not here to be controlled by your mind. You are here to master it, and through that mastery transform everything. You don't rise by accident. You rise by decision. Every single day you are training your mind in one direction or the other. Either you are teaching it to obey fear, or you are teaching it to follow purpose. There is no neutral path. Every thought you entertain, every reaction you feed, every excuse you justify is shaping your future. And if you want to change your life, you must start where it begins, inside your mind. Not once, not occasionally, but consistently. Because the mind doesn't shift through intensity, it shifts through repetition. The thoughts you feed the most become the ones that lead. So ask yourself, what are you feeding? If you continue to nourish doubt, it will dominate you. If you continue to make decisions from fear, your life will reflect hesitation. But if you start building discipline, if you start reinforcing belief, if you start speaking power, even when you feel powerless, your mind will evolve. It will stop resisting your growth and start protecting it. It will stop dragging you backward and start pushing you forward. Because the mind can be conditioned. And your conditioning determines your capacity. You don't get stronger by hoping. You get stronger by showing your mind again and again that you will not break, that you will not give up, that you will keep rising, no matter how loud the doubt, no matter how heavy the fear. The truth is, most of the limits you feel are not real. They are stories, mental walls built by a scared voice trying to keep you safe. But safety is not the goal. Strength is, growth is, freedom is. And freedom does not live inside comfort. It lives on the other side of it. You will never meet your best self by avoiding the hard things. You will only meet that version of you by going straight through them, fully aware, fully present, fully committed to the version of life you know you deserve. And that version doesn't come from ease. It comes from mastering the inner war, from standing in the fire of your thoughts and choosing, over and over again, to walk through it instead of run from it. No one else can do this for you. No one else can quiet the storm inside your head. But you can, not all at once. Not perfectly, but steadily. You can take back control. You can build the mindset that matches your vision. You can lead your emotions instead of being ruled by them. You are not weak for having fear. You are only lost when you obey it. But you're not lost now. You're awake. You're aware. You're capable. And everything you need to take control is already inside you. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before fear taught you to shrink. That version is still here. And it's time to let it lead. There is a voice inside you that never stopped believing. Even when your mind got loud. Even when the pressure rose. Even when fear wrapped itself around your goals and told you to settle. That voice remained. Quiet, but present. Waiting. Not for the perfect moment, but for your permission. The moment you stop bowing to fear is the moment that voice becomes power. It's the part of you that never accepted limits. It's the part that doesn't care how tired you are, how scared you feel, or how long it's taken. It only cares that you remember who you are and what you're capable of when you stop living by your thoughts and start living by your truth. You weren't made to chase ease. You were made to chase purpose. You were made to fight for it when it's hard, to hold on to it when it feels far, and to walk toward it even when your legs shake. Because courage isn't loud, it's quiet. It's a decision, repeated in silence over and over again until it changes your life. That's what you're doing now. Every time you push through the noise. Every time you act without waiting to feel ready, every time you silence the voice of what if and choose the voice of I will, you are taking your power back. And when you take back your power, the mind can no longer rule you. It has to serve you, and it will fight. It will scream. It will beg you to stay where it's safe. But that's just survival talking. That's the past trying to protect you from the future. But you're not living for survival anymore. You're living for meaning. You're living for growth. And growth costs comfort. It always has. That's the price. And most never pay it. Most never stretch themselves far enough to discover their real potential. But you are not most people. You are here to break patterns. You are here to build discipline. You are here to become the kind of person who commands their thoughts instead of obeying them. That kind of person doesn't need perfect conditions. They create progress no matter what's in the way. Your life starts to shift the moment you stop waiting for peace to arrive and start generating it from within. Because peace is not found in the absence of noise. It's found in the presence of control. When you can sit with discomfort without being moved by it. When you can feel fear without being led by it. That's when peace becomes real. And with peace comes clarity. With clarity comes direction. And with direction, nothing can stop you. Not because life gets easier, but because you become immovable, calm in chaos, clear in doubt, focused in distraction. And that is the edge that turns a life around, not once, but every single day you choose it. That is the gift of taking control. That is the power of a mind aligned with purpose. Your mind is a powerful tool, but only when you take the reins. Left unchecked, it becomes a storm tossing you between fear and doubt, anxiety and hesitation. But when you lead it with intention, it becomes your greatest ally, your fiercest protector, your clearest guide. The difference lies not in eliminating the chaos, but in mastering your response to it. It's not about waiting for your thoughts to quiet down. It's about learning to move forward while the noise still rages. This mastery is not a gift. It's a skill you build every day with deliberate focus and relentless courage. And every time you choose action over inertia, every time you rise despite the resistance inside, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your mind's loudest protests. You may have been told that your mind is something you have to battle or even surrender to, that it's a wild force to be tamed or feared, but it's neither a prison nor a master. It's a reflection of what you feed it. What you think about, you bring about. What you pay attention to grows. If you focus on fear, fear grows. If you focus on your doubts, doubt grows. But if you focus on your power, your discipline, your potential, those qualities multiply. You don't have to fight your mind with brute force. You have to outthink it with awareness and persistence. Every time you catch a negative thought and refuse to follow it, you take back control. Every time you replace a limiting belief with the truth that empowers you, you rewrite your internal programming. This process requires honesty. It requires admitting where your mind has been holding you back. It demands courage to face the parts of yourself that you'd rather ignore. The fears, the excuses, the patterns of giving up too soon. But this is not about judgment. It's about ownership. Taking responsibility for your inner world means you are no longer a victim of your thoughts. You become the architect of your mental landscape. And when you do, the external world begins to shift as well. Challenges no longer intimidate you because you have built resilience within. Doubts no longer stop you because you have anchored yourself in conviction. The mind becomes a servant of your vision instead of a dictator of your limits. True freedom comes when your mind aligns with your purpose. Not when your circumstances are perfect, but when your inner foundation is unshakable. When you don't wait for motivation to show up, but you generate it by taking deliberate action. When you don't wait to feel strong, but you prove strength through persistence. This is where transformation happens. Not as a sudden event, but as a series of small, consistent decisions to lead your mind rather than be led by it. It is in this daily practice that you reclaim your power and unlock your potential. The path is not easy, but it is yours to choose. And when you choose it, you step into a new reality. One where your mind is no longer your enemy, but your greatest source of strength. Every moment you spend allowing your mind to run wild, you give away your power. The thoughts that flood your brain, the worries that grip your heart, the endless what-ifs and not-enoughs, they're not your truth. They are habits formed by years of fear, doubt, and avoidance. But habits can be broken. Thoughts can be reshaped. You have the power to change the conversation inside your head. And that change is the most important battle you will ever fight because it controls everything else. Your choices, your actions, your life. When you realize this, it becomes impossible to settle for less. It becomes impossible to accept the status quo. Because deep inside you know that the mind you've been battling is not who you are. It's who you've been told to be. And you refuse to live that way any longer. Control doesn't mean silencing every negative thought. That's unrealistic and unnecessary. Control means deciding which thoughts deserve your attention and which ones deserve to be released. It means creating a space inside where your purpose and values can thrive, untouched by chaos. When your mind is your ally, you don't drown in the noise. You listen, filter, and act with clarity. You stop reacting out of habit and start responding with intention. This shift is radical because it rewires your brain to seek growth instead of comfort, progress instead of procrastination. It rewires you to find strength in discomfort and courage in uncertainty. That is true mastery over your inner world. And it transforms your outer world faster than anything else. You can't wait for your mind to calm on its own. That's a lie you've been fed. The mind thrives on stimulation, distraction, and drama. It wants your energy, your focus, your control. If you don't take the lead, it will take the lead for you, and it will lead you nowhere you want to go. So you must show up for yourself every single day. You must practice choosing the thoughts that build you up even when it feels hard. You must remind yourself that discomfort is the doorway to growth, not the enemy. The way you do this is by creating habits that strengthen your mental muscles, simple rituals of focus, gratitude, and action that train your mind to follow your will instead of its fears. Over time, those habits become your second nature. They become the foundation of a mind that serves you fiercely and faithfully. Remember, the mind is not your enemy. It's your battlefield. A battlefield where the war for your life is won or lost every day. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be persistent. Each small victory over a limiting thought is a step toward freedom. Each moment you choose courage over comfort rewires your brain for success. You are not a slave to your mind's chaos. You are the commander of your destiny. This is your power. This is your truth. And as long as you keep fighting for it, your mind will stop being your enemy and become your greatest weapon. The mind that controls you feels relentless because it is relentless. It bombards you with endless chatter, doubts, fears, and distractions designed to keep you small, safe, and stagnant. But what if you stopped giving that voice power? What if you treated it like the background noise it truly is, something to acknowledge, but never obey? This is the secret. You don't have to silence your mind. You have to outlast it. You have to outlast the excuses, the fears, the self-sabotage. You have to develop a mental toughness that says, I will keep moving forward, no matter what my mind tries to tell me. That toughness doesn't come from ignoring your thoughts. It comes from understanding them, owning them, and then choosing your actions in spite of them. That is where true power lives. Every time your mind tells you that you're not enough, that you can't handle the pressure, that you should give up, you have a choice. You can listen and shrink, or you can challenge those thoughts and grow. This is not a battle of force, but of awareness. Your mind is powerful because it is familiar. It knows your fears, your habits, your vulnerabilities. But you are more powerful because you are conscious. You have the ability to watch your mind without being controlled by it. That space between stimulus and response is your power zone. It's where you reclaim your authority and say, no, this thought does not define me. It's where you rewrite the story your mind wants to keep telling. And with every rewrite, you become stronger, freer, more capable of living the life you desire. When you learn to navigate your mind instead of fighting it, fear loses its grip. Anxiety starts to lose its intensity. Doubt becomes a passing cloud instead of a storm. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires daily practice, a commitment to face the noise inside and choose peace anyway. Peace does not come from the absence of challenge but from the presence of control. When you know how to lead your mind, you carry an unshakable calm that no external circumstance can steal. That calm is your foundation. From it flows clarity, resilience, and unstoppable focus. It is the place where your dreams become not just possible, but inevitable. Your uncontrolled mind has been your enemy because it has been left unchecked. But it was never meant to be your prison. It was meant to be your playground for growth, your laboratory for change, your ally in pursuit of greatness. When you take responsibility for your thoughts, you step into the role of leader of your own life. You stop reacting to old patterns and start creating new ones. You stop being a passenger and become the driver. That shift is transformational. It rewires your brain for success. It unlocks the potential waiting silently inside you, and it sets you free from the endless cycle of self-doubt and fear. You were born to lead your mind, not be led by it. The power is yours to claim. The battle is within, but the victory changes everything outside. When you decide to control your mind, you decide to control your destiny, and nothing will ever be the same again. Your mind is the battlefield where your future is won or lost, but it's also the canvas where your reality is painted. The colors it chooses to show depend on where you place your focus. If you let your mind dwell on failure, fear, and doubt, you paint a life of limitation and regret. But if you intentionally choose thoughts of possibility, strength, and resilience, you create a life rich with growth and victory. This power is not abstract. It is real, tangible, and accessible to you right now. You don't need to be gifted or perfect. You only need to decide that your mind will work for you, not against you. That decision is your doorway to transformation, your first step toward freedom. Every thought you entertain has energy. It grows stronger the more attention you give it. That is why control over your mind is not about suppressing negativity. It's about directing your energy toward what serves you best. You become what you think about most. So, the critical question is, what are you choosing to feed? Are you feeding fear, anxiety, and self-doubt? Or are you feeding courage, determination, and belief? This is the foundation of mastery over your mind. It requires awareness of your inner dialogue and the willingness to challenge the thoughts that hold you back. That willingness is not weakness. It's the bravest thing you can do. It's the proof that you refuse to be a prisoner of your own mind. The battle for control is fought in small moments. It's in the pause before you react to a negative thought. It's in the choice to replace I can't with I will try. It's in the habit of focusing on solutions instead of problems. These moments seem insignificant alone, but their power compounds over time. Like drops of water carving through rock, your daily mental choices shape the course of your life. You are not helpless. You are not doomed to be ruled by chaos. You are a creator with the power to rewrite your mental script every single day. That power demands respect because it transforms the way you experience everything: your goals, your relationships, your peace of mind. It's important to remember that your mind's default setting is to protect you, not to empower you. It resists change because change feels risky and uncomfortable. But growth lives on the other side of discomfort. You must learn to welcome discomfort as a sign of progress, not a signal to stop. When you reframe discomfort this way, your mind shifts from enemy to partner. It stops sabotaging and starts supporting. You become more resilient, more focused, and more capable of moving through challenges rather than being stopped by them. This shift is subtle but profound. It rewires your brain to respond differently to fear and doubt, turning them into fuel instead of obstacles. You are capable of this transformation because your mind is not fixed, it is malleable. Neuroplasticity proves your brain can change and grow with practice and intention. This means every effort you make to control your thoughts is a step toward lasting change. The mind that once held you hostage can become your strongest ally. But you must choose it every day. You must commit to mastering your mind, even when it fights back. That commitment is the foundation of true freedom, the freedom to live on your terms, to act with clarity and courage, and to create the life you were meant to live. Your mind is waiting for you to take control. The question is, will you? Your mind is a powerful force, but it is not infallible. It is shaped by habits, beliefs, and experiences that can either confine you or set you free. The difference lies in your awareness and your choices. When you become aware of the patterns that run your mind, the automatic fears, the limiting beliefs, the self-judgment, you gain the ability to interrupt them. You gain the power to rewrite those patterns with new, empowering thoughts. This is not just about positive thinking. It's about conscious control. It's about taking the driver's seat in the mental landscape that has controlled you for so long. Every time you do this, you weaken the grip of your uncontrolled mind and strengthen your capacity for focus, peace, and progress. Your thoughts are not random. They are language your brain uses to communicate your needs and fears. When you understand this, you stop fighting your mind and start listening to it with compassion and clarity. You recognize that fear is not an enemy to defeat, but a signal to move with courage. Doubt is not a stop sign, but an invitation to prepare and push forward. Anxiety is not a trap, but a call to anchor yourself in the present moment. This shift in perspective transforms your inner dialogue from one of battle to one of partnership. Your mind becomes less chaotic and more cooperative. You become less reactive and more intentional. This is the foundation for lasting change and true mastery over your mental world. Control over your mind is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will have moments when old habits resurface, when fear screams louder, and when doubt tries to pull you back. That is normal. The difference is what you do in those moments. You can surrender to the noise, or you can acknowledge it and choose a different path. This choice is where your power lives. It is the moment you decide who you are, not your fears or your past, but your commitment to growth and resilience. The more you make this choice, the more automatic it becomes. You create a new default setting in your brain, one aligned with strength, clarity, and determination. Your mind's power is magnified by your body. How you care for your physical self, through breath, movement, rest, and nutrition, directly impacts your mental state. When your body is neglected, your mind becomes restless and weak. When your body is nourished and respected, your mind gains stability and energy. This connection means that controlling your mind is a holistic practice. It requires attention to your physical health as much as your mental habits. Small, consistent actions, deep breaths, stretches, quality sleep, healthy food, become the foundation that supports your mental resilience. You're not just shaping thoughts, you're shaping the entire system that sustains those thoughts. You have the ability to turn the tide of your mental struggles by embracing this holistic approach. Your mind, body, and spirit are intertwined, and each part must be cared for to unlock your full potential. Control over your mind is not a distant dream. It is a practice available to you in this very moment. You only need to choose it. You only need to commit. The freedom you seek, the courage, the clarity, the peace, is waiting on the other side of that choice. Your mind is ready for transformation. Are you ready to lead it? Every moment your mind is active, it offers you a choice: to surrender to old fears and patterns, or to rise above them and claim your power. This choice is not easy. It demands courage because the mind resists change. It clings to familiarity, even if that familiarity causes pain or limits your potential, because the unknown feels risky and uncertain. But true growth begins the moment you decide that the risk of remaining stuck is greater than the fear of change. That decision ignites a fire within you that cannot be extinguished by doubt or distraction. It awakens a force that propels you forward, no matter how strong the storm inside your mind. To control your mind means to become the observer of your thoughts rather than their victim. It means stepping back and realizing that your mind's chatter is not truth, it is noise. It is the echo of past wounds, cultural conditioning, and survival instincts designed to keep you safe, not to help you thrive. When you observe your thoughts without judgment, you create space between stimulus and reaction. In that space lies your power to choose your response. This simple shift rewires your brain. It weakens the automatic patterns that lead to fear and hesitation, and it strengthens the pathways of calm, clarity, and decisive action. With practice, you become less reactive and more resilient, less overwhelmed and more in control. The mind can be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. It all depends on the narrative you accept. The stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of shape your reality. If you tell yourself you're limited, you live limited. If you tell yourself you're strong, capable, and worthy, you begin to embody those qualities. This is not blind optimism. It is a scientific truth rooted in how the brain forms neural connections. Each time you choose empowering thoughts over limiting ones, you strengthen new neural pathways. These pathways become your new normal, your new identity. You are literally shaping who you become with every thought you entertain and every belief you reinforce. Mastery over your mind requires intentionality. It demands that you set boundaries on what you allow to occupy your mental space. You must become selective about the voices you listen to, both inside and outside. Negative self-talk, toxic comparisons, and endless distractions drain your mental energy and scatter your focus. Protecting your mind means cultivating habits that nurture your strength. Daily moments of stillness, focused attention on your goals, and deliberate kindness toward yourself. These habits are not indulgences. They are essential acts of leadership over your own life. They build the foundation from which you can face any challenge with courage and clarity. You are not powerless against your mind's chaos. You have the ability to calm the noise, to quiet the inner critic, and to focus on what truly matters. This power is your birthright, waiting to be claimed. It is not a secret reserved for the few. It is a skill accessible to anyone willing to commit. The moment you accept responsibility for your mental state, you step into freedom. Freedom from doubt, fear, and hesitation. Freedom to act with purpose and confidence. Freedom to create a life defined by your own terms, not by the limits your uncontrolled mind once set. Your journey toward control begins with a single courageous choice. Make that choice now. Your mind is a relentless force, but within that force lies the power to shape your destiny. The difference between being controlled by your thoughts and mastering them is the difference between living a life of reaction and one of creation. The uncontrolled mind acts like a wild river, rushing with fear, doubt, and distraction, sweeping you away without direction. But the mastered mind is like a deep, steady current, calm, purposeful, and strong enough to carve through obstacles and reach new horizons. You must choose to become that calm current, to guide your mental energy with intention and strength. This choice is yours alone, but its impact ripples through every part of your life. You hold the key to your mental freedom in your daily habits. Every thought you allow, every focus you give, either tightens the chains of your uncontrolled mind or loosens them. Control is not about perfection, it's about consistent effort. It's the small decisions, choosing to pause before reacting, choosing to replace fear with curiosity, choosing to direct your mind towards solutions instead of problems, that build momentum. Each choice is like a brick laid in the foundation of your new mental reality. With time, these bricks form a fortress of resilience and clarity that protects you from the chaos within and without. This fortress is not built overnight, but every moment you commit to mental mastery, you strengthen its walls. Understanding the nature of your thoughts changes everything. Thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations shaped by emotions, memories, and biases. When you realize this, you gain the ability to question them, to challenge their validity, instead of accepting them as truth. This questioning weakens negative beliefs and opens space for new, empowering perspectives. You begin to see your mind as a tool, not a tyrant. A tool you can shape and use to build the life you want. This shift in mindset is revolutionary because it frees you from automatic reactions and places you in the driver's seat. You become the author of your mental narrative rather than its victim. The brain thrives on repetition. The more you practice directing your thoughts with intention, the more natural it becomes. This is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt. Each time you choose courage over fear, focus over distraction, belief over doubt, you strengthen neural pathways that support growth and resilience. Over time, these pathways become your new default mode, and your mind no longer resists change but embraces it. This biological truth is a reminder that your mind's power is not fixed. It is fluid, capable of transformation through your daily choices. You are not bound by past patterns. You are a work in progress with unlimited potential. Your mind is your most valuable asset, and it deserves your attention and care. Protect it from the noise that drains your energy, negative influences, self-criticism, endless distractions, and Instead, fill your mental space with clarity, purpose, and positivity. This is not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing what to focus on, what to believe, and how to respond. This selective focus empowers you to rise above challenges, to see opportunities where others see obstacles, and to act with confidence, even when fear whispers doubts. Your mind is not your enemy. It is the battleground where your greatest victories begin. You have the strength to tame your mind. You have the capacity to shape it into a force that serves your highest good. The journey demands courage and commitment, but the reward is freedom. The freedom to live fully, act boldly, and create without limitation. Your mind is waiting for your command. Step forward and claim your power. The mind is constantly at work, but what if you could harness its energy instead of being consumed by it? Imagine your thoughts no longer pulling you in every direction, but focusing like a laser on what truly matters. This shift is not a fantasy. It is a decision you make every single day. The power to control your mind means you decide where your energy goes. Instead of wasting it on doubts and fears, you channel it into your dreams, your purpose, your growth. This is the most profound form of freedom, the freedom to choose your mental focus and, with it, your life's direction. Your mind often feels like an uncontrollable storm, but storms pass. The difference between surviving and thriving lies in how you navigate the tempest within. When you recognize that your thoughts are not commands but passing clouds, you create space for peace. This peace is not passive, it is an active state of awareness where you can choose your next move with clarity and strength. It is the calm in the chaos, the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything else is shaking. Cultivating this inner calm is the foundation of mastering your mind, because it allows you to respond to life, not react to it. You have been conditioned to believe that your mind is a wild force that must be tamed through sheer willpower alone. But true control is more subtle. It begins with acceptance, accepting that thoughts will come and go, that anxiety and doubt are part of the human experience. When you stop fighting the presence of difficult thoughts, you stop feeding their power. Acceptance disarms the mind's attack and opens the door to compassion for yourself. With compassion, your mind stops being a battlefield and becomes a workshop where you can gently shape new ways of thinking and being. Your beliefs are the lens through which you see the world, and many of these beliefs are formed without your awareness. The uncontrolled mind recycles old, limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in a loop of fear and self-doubt. But you have the power to rewrite those beliefs. This requires conscious effort, replacing old narratives with truths that support your growth and resilience. Every time you challenge a limiting thought, you weaken its hold and strengthen your capacity to believe in yourself. This mental rewiring transforms your experience from one of helplessness to empowerment. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the endless stream of thoughts, but remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer behind them, the silent witness who can choose which thoughts to engage and which to let pass. This subtle shift in perspective creates a profound sense of freedom. It takes the power away from automatic, negative patterns and gives it back to you. With this freedom comes responsibility, the responsibility to guide your mind with intention, to cultivate thoughts that fuel your courage and ignite your potential. Mastery over your mind is a daily practice, not a destination. It asks for patience, persistence, and kindness toward yourself when you falter. The reward is undeniable, a mind that serves you instead of sabotaging you, a mind that fuels your dreams instead of feeding your fears. This is the power that transforms ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. It is within your reach now, waiting for you to step forward and claim it. The journey is yours to begin, and it starts with a single conscious choice, to no longer let your uncontrolled mind be your biggest enemy. Every moment your mind wanders unchecked, it silently builds barriers between you and your true potential. These barriers are invisible yet heavy, made of fear, doubt, and hesitation. They block your path and dim the light of your possibilities. But these walls are not fixed. They are created by patterns of thought you have the power to change. The moment you realize this, a new reality opens. You stop being a prisoner of your uncontrolled mind and begin the journey toward liberation. This shift is the most important transformation you will ever undertake, because it redefines your relationship with yourself and the world around you. The power to shape your mind comes with the understanding that thoughts are not facts, but rather impulses that can be directed. When you catch yourself sinking into negativity or fear, you have a choice: to follow those thoughts deeper into despair or to pull back and redirect your focus. This is the essence of mental control. It is not about eliminating all negative thoughts, that is impossible, but about learning to recognize them, detach from their grip, and consciously choose a better path. This ability rewires your brain, creating new habits that reinforce strength, resilience, and clarity. Control over your mind also means control over your emotions. Emotions arise from your thoughts. They are the body's response to what your mind believes. When your thoughts spiral into anxiety, your body responds with tension and stress. When your mind centers on hope and purpose, your body relaxes and your energy shifts. This connection means that by mastering your mind, you also gain mastery over your emotional state. You become less reactive, more grounded, and more capable of facing challenges without losing yourself. This emotional regulation is a cornerstone of personal power. It is crucial to understand that mental mastery is not a solo battle. Your environment, the people around you, and the information you consume feed your mind constantly. To take control, you must guard your mental space fiercely. Surround yourself with positivity, truth, and encouragement. Limit exposure to negativity and distractions that pull your attention away from your goals. This deliberate curation of your mental environment is a form of self-respect and an essential strategy in taming the wild mind. Your surroundings shape your thoughts more than you realize. Focus is the currency of the mind. What you invest your attention in grows stronger. The uncontrolled mind scatters this focus across worry, past regrets, and imagined failures, draining your energy and confidence. But when you choose to focus intentionally on your strengths, your purpose, your next step, your mental power magnifies. Focus acts like a spotlight in the darkness, illuminating the path forward and revealing opportunities that were always there but hidden. Cultivating this focused attention is the gateway to transformation. This battle with your uncontrolled mind is not a sign of weakness, but a test of courage. Courage to face discomfort, to challenge ingrained habits, to break free from old patterns that no longer serve you. This courage is within you now, waiting to be claimed. The mind's chaos can be silenced, its noise turned into clarity. The power is yours. With every conscious breath, every deliberate thought, you move closer to the freedom and greatness that await beyond the prison of your uncontrolled mind.